Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. Middlesbrough 1, Chelsea 0. And like my dog when it's been rolling around in fox shit, that absolutely stinks from Chelsea. Fair play to Michael Carrick and Middlesbrough, but they're a championship club mid-table and they lose 2 players in the first 20 minutes. Chelsea have spent £1 billion. Boring, I know, but they've spent £1 billion in the last 12 months. And you've got to be saying now, as a Chelsea fan, you've got to be saying, what are we going to do? I was on, check out Goldbridge Saves Football podcast today. I said, who's going to be the team of 2024? If it was Villa last year and it was Brighton the year before, who's going to be the breakout team this year? And I said, well, it's got to be Chelsea. As ridiculous as that sounds, they're a mid-table club that shouldn't be a mid-table club. So any progression up to top 4 would be a big improvement. Well, first, that's not probably not going to happen, is it? Because I watched that game today, and it's the same old problems for Chelsea. And look, we've seen the media pylon of Arteta and Klopp at times and Ten Hag, and when I say Klopp, I don't mean it in the sense of bad results, but if he ever does anything wrong, pile on, But with Poch, he's just such a media darling, and I don't think that actually helps Chelsea. I think Pochettino can do a good job, but he needs to be under a little bit more pressure. You watch him losing so regularly, and he just seems to be sat there with a bit of a smile on his face. He doesn't look like a guy that's been told he could get the sack. And I'm not saying he should get the sack, because that's the mistake Chelsea made with their last few managers. But there's got to be accountability. It's Chelsea Football Club at the end of the day. You're mid-table, and you're nowhere near Europe at the moment. The Carabao Cup might be your only chance because winning the FA Cup, there's a lot of good teams in it. You've got Middlesbrough, which with all due respect should be a bye into the final. And Middlesbrough have got injuries and they've beaten you 1-0. And it's not like Chelsea haven't had chances again. They have had a lot of the ball, but there's no urgency. I was looking at that game and it's 1-0. Broha puts a cross into Sterling and Sterling sort of got a smile on his face. Oh, so close. And I think that's the problem with Chelsea. They just lack. I saw Thiago Silva at the end of that game you won the other day. I think it was against Palace, and he was pissed off because, no, it wasn't Palace. Who was it? Luton. Was it Luton? You were winning 3-0 and it was 3-2 and it was shaky at the end, and he was pissed off at the end. And I thought, Chelsea haven't got enough players like that. I mean, one of the players they have got like that is Conor Gallagher, and they're trying to sell him. It's like a puzzle that doesn't make a puzzle. It's just loads of different pieces. Very expensive pieces as well. All the money they've spent on players, and I just don't get what Chelsea are going to be. Look, I think it was Casido on the first goal. The cross comes back, he stops running and puts his hand behind his back. What are you thinking about a handball for when you're not even tracking the ball? It's weird. There's just weird stuff go on in that Chelsea side. Mistakes, poor finishing, and look, I'll always go back to the fact that I don't understand why Chelsea haven't gone out and bought a world-class striker. You've spent £100 million on a couple of players. Surely the guy that's going to score the goals is the most important thing, and they just haven't done it. And I don't really know what their plan is, because there doesn't seem to be any urgency. They've also almost got themselves into this position now where Bowley said, we're going to stick with this manager, and this manager knows he's going to be stuck with, and the fans know he's going to be stuck with, but the results aren't improving. So everyone's sort of going, well, we're sticking with the manager, but where are we going? Like, there's no urgency to sort things out. At least, Arsenal should not be looking to sack Arteta, but he drops to 4th, and Arsenal fans are going, I don't know whether he's the right guy. He's a bit of pressure. Man United, Ten Hag, I wouldn't sack him, but, he has got to be scrutinised. He has got to be held accountable, and he has got to improve. Otherwise, he'll be gone in the summer. Whereas with Chelsea, it's like, well, it very much looks like you're not going to be in Europe again next season. So it very much looks like you're going to have a similar season next year where it's, midweek off. But doesn't seem to be any plan to deal with that. And they seem to be waiting for something to change. But I've watched Chelsea a few times this season, and I don't see where it's going to improve. Like, they get a good result against Man City, and then the next time I watch them, they're at Old Trafford and they get dominated. Christmas Eve at Wolves, predictably they go and lose there. They lose tonight. They beat Luton, and they think it's just a really, really odd situation at Chelsea, and they do stink. They really stink, and they really do deserve to be where they are. And I think Liverpool are going to win the Carabao Cup because they're the best club left in the cup. But, you know, you would have thought Chelsea at some point were just going to click in and start playing better. But I think the biggest problem that Pochettino's got is that there is still so much rotation. And I don't know what it's like for Chelsea fans, but every time I tune in, I know they've got injuries, but I don't know what his best 11 is. I don't know what the real system is. I don't really see any fluidity or chemistry or, you know, vision. I very rarely watch Chelsea this season and go, that was a good half an hour where they played really, really well. And that does not bode well for a squad that is, you know, renowned for being, what's the word? Not united. And you do worry and wonder what's going on behind the scenes at Chelsea, because that doesn't look like you can't really blame them, I suppose, in a sense, but it doesn't look like a team that knows where it's heading or what it's doing. Now, I still think that at Stamford Bridge, with Middlesbrough and the injury problems they've got, and it's only 1-0, you'd fancy Chelsea to find a goal at some point and then momentum get them through. So I don't think this is going to end up with Middlesbrough in the Carabao Cup final. I really don't. I still think Chelsea are a better team than Middlesbrough and will find a way to beat them, and quite rightly so. I mean, look at the budgets, look at the wages, look at the players. We're not just talking about a mid-table Premier League club against a mid-table Championship club. We're talking about, you know, a massive gulf in players and depth, etc. So I still think Chelsea will turn it around, but that doesn't make it acceptable that they keep putting in performances like this. I can't see where Chelsea are going to find any rhythm, because I look at their next few games, and, you know, Fulham at home on Saturday, and then they've got Middlesbrough next week, and then they've got Villa in the Cup, which will be difficult, and then they've got Liverpool in the league, and then they've got Wolves, and they've got Palace away, and they've got Man City away, and they've got Chelsea at Spurs at home. You just don't see. Chelsea are desperate for some rhythm and consistency, and I just don't see it. I think this season is a very competitive season, and Chelsea are never going to find consistency when they're ridiculously inconsistent in their ethos and their lineup. So, yeah. But look, Michael Carrick, legend of Manchester United in my eyes, and I'm just really pleased for him with that. I don't think they'll get to the final, but that's just another feather in his cap as a manager, isn't it? They had so many challenges today with their injuries, and they defended well, they countered well, they scored a good goal, and I think that it's a great result for Middlesbrough. But as I said, Chelsea really do stink. Get your comments in, make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.